VocalEye Almost Live Zoom, Flying Blind, hosted by Amy Amantea, with special guests Sheri Richardson, Ellen Cooper, Laura Ferry, Kathleen Tracy, Geri Teakins, Dan Ortner, and Dave Ortner.
So a big welcome to you all to this VocalEye Almost Live event. My name is Amy Amantea. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the Associate Director here at VocalEye. I am your host for these almost live online events, and I'm a proud member of the blind community. I'm a very proud member of this community. I didn't lose my eyesight till I was 24 years old, and at that time I thought it was a bit of a tragedy, and now I think it's been one of the greatest gifts in my life to be surrounded by all of you all. And I just want to extend a big thank you to this community, for everybody who's joined us week after week, for the supporters in this space, for folks who've made financial donations to VocalEye, for folks who write testimonials. We are grateful for all of this. So keep those coming. We read the testimonials. Any donations that come through support this programming that we provide free to the community week after week after week. And so we are grateful. I am grateful for all of this and for all of you in this space. If you happen to be watching these episodes on our YouTube channel, and I hope that you do, or share this YouTube channel with others, perhaps you can support us by hovering over those little link buttons and subscribe buttons and clicking on those like buttons and whatnot. That would really help us out. VocalEye is broadcasting to you all from the traditional and unceded, that does mean stolen, lands of the Coast Salish peoples, in particular the Squamish, the Musqueam, and the Tsleil-Waututh First Nations. And as I was thinking about flying blind tonight and what it means to be a member of the blind community, I was curious about doing a little bit of research around blindness in Indigenous communities, what that looks like, what that means. And to be honest with you, I couldn't find a heck of a lot of things, but what I did find was some statistical stuff around blindness in North America. So I want to share with you a bit of what I found, considering that this is North American statistical stuff. So a lot of this is related to diabetes and vision loss, and it resonated a lot with me because I am a type 1 diabetic, and as my diabetes is as a result of type 1 diabetes. And so some of you know that diabetes is a leading cause of vision loss, and might be one of the reasons why you yourself has acquired a sight loss. So Indigenous peoples in North America are more than 3 times susceptible to losing sight due to diabetes. In fact, they're more than 3 times higher of having getting diabetes, whether it's type 1 through autoimmune or type 2 through lifestyle and diet. They are more highly susceptible to diabetes, thus more highly susceptible to losing sight through diabetes. And then I'm reading through these statistics and I'm thinking, okay, there's a lot of government documents here, and a lot of the government documents are saying things like Indigenous peoples don't go to get their eyes checked. And as I'm reading these statistics, which are a lot of numbers, all I can glean from this is that it is the fault of Indigenous peoples. Like, how dare they not go and get their eyes checked when other populations are getting eye exams on a regular basis? And that prompted me to dig even further, thinking, okay, so that looks like a very surface answer, so you're not going to get your eyes checked, which means you're not getting the laser surgery when your blood vessels burst. You're not getting cauterized, therefore your sight is limited. But why aren't people going to seek out medical attention? There have to be some systemic reasons why people may not seek out medical attention. So then I couldn't find a lot of information on this by doing a Google search, and Google is like the tool, right? So I went and I asked some folks in Indigenous communities, and I asked them to be my teaching moment. And I was really grateful for knowing some folks in Indigenous communities here who shared with me some things. So I want to share with you, again, considering that these are North American stats. So considering that there's been a change in culture, in their diets over the generations, and how this might impact lifestyle changes and how that might relate to diabetes. Considering that there's a socioeconomic barrier for people who are of Indigenous background, so that may impact your ability to purchase foods that are unprocessed or that may be more healthy, and how that may impact the rate of diabetes. Considering that many Indigenous folks may live in more rural areas and may have be experiencing food insecurities. Considering that there may be racial and discriminatory behaviors in medical environments, and in healthcare systems of Indigenous peoples. And so they may not want to be in Western medical spaces, and that there's a lack of integration or acceptance or inclusion of traditional medicines of Indigenous peoples in the Western system. So folks may not feel like they are invited or welcomed, or that their approach is acknowledged within a Western medical environment. That folks who are living in more rural populations just may not have access to medical doctors at all. They may not have a primary care doctor. They may not have specialists in their areas. And so there just may be a lack of access to primary care providers. That folks in Indigenous communities may not have access to the education that some other privileged populations may have access to around diabetes education. So again, these are North American statistics, and I was thinking about this in terms of a worldwide scope too, because if you dig a little bit further, and this is not necessarily a diabetes context, but the World Bank says that there are between 370 to 500 million Indigenous peoples spread across more than 90 countries worldwide. So you can extrapolate how these statistics may impact Indigenous peoples all over the world. So as we experience flying blind tonight, and many of us in this space experience blindness or low vision, whether it's a congenital or an acquired sight loss, that some of these incidents that we will experience tonight, some of these situations may be something that resonates with all of us. I'm going to be thinking about some folks maybe in Indigenous communities, and whether some of these things might resonate with them, or whether they might be experiencing further barriers that I may know nothing about. So I offer that in terms of my land acknowledgement for this evening. So a big welcome to you all for joining us in this space on Wednesday, October the 11th, 2023. Tonight, we're proud to offer you our almost live event number 131. We've been going strong over the pandemic. This has been our pandemic gift, I suppose, our pivot. And in the space, we're offering you Flying Blind this evening. And I've got a couple of guests doing our little pre-show welcome. So I just want to invite into the space two folks. We got Sheri with us, and we've got Ellen with us. So welcome, friends, into the space. I got one square. I think it's Sheri. Is that you, Sheri? Can I hear Sheri?
I'm here.
There's Sheri, and then we got Ellen. I know I got two squares. I think I got all of them.
I'm here as well.
Wonderful. Well, thanks, friends, for joining us. How are the two of you this evening?
Doing well. I had a little bit of technological glitch, but I live blocks away from Kathleen, so I am here sharing her computer with her.
So Ellen time traveled over to Kathleen's house in order to access technology. And Sheri, you're joining from your home?
I am joining from my home, but I'm not much further away from Kathleen's house than Ellen. So, we thought about just partying at Kathleen's house and being done with it.
And you are all just over the border from British Columbia and Washington, right?
Yes, we are.
Well, thank you for joining us. I'm still in Pacific time zone, which I very much appreciate. I know there are many folks in our participants panel tonight that are joining from many hours in the future, and we appreciate that as well. So, Flying Blind, you all are going to tell me a little bit about yourselves and the origin story of this piece, right? So who wants to share a little bit first?
Well, why don't
Ellen?
Yeah.
Ellen, go ahead.
Yes, this is Ellen. And first of all, I want to thank you, Amy, and all the folks at VocalEye and all of you for joining us. But really, this is a wonderful opportunity, and we're really excited to be here. So thank you. So I'll just start by introducing myself. My name is Ellen. I use she, her pronouns. And I'm the producer and playwright for Flying Blind. And one of the playwrights, I'm sorry. And I'm also the executive director of the Anything is Possible Theater Company.
Awesome.
And I'm Sheri Richardson, and I'm another one of the playwrights of Flying Blind. And I'm also the consultant for Flying Blind. And so we just want to share a little bit about how the play came into existence.
And just before we move on, because Sheri, you've been in this space as an audience member before, so some folks may know that you're a member of the blind community.
Yes.
Ellen, are you comfortable sharing with us? Are you a member of the blind community, or are you an ally? Where do you land?
I'm an ally.
You're an ally. Okay, great. I like to have the context.
Yeah, it's great. So the way Flying Blind came into being, it started back in 2017, I believe. You can correct me, Sheri, if I'm wrong. But Sheri and I both live in the same neighborhood in Seattle, and for many years it's been a really quiet community. And I'd say in the last 10, 12 years, it's really transformed into an incredibly busy neighborhood. There's more traffic, um,
And there's
tons of.
construction everywhere.
Uh-huh.
Sounds like BC.
Right, exactly. So I, as a sighted person, began to notice how there were blind low vision folks from the nearby orientation training center. And they were navigating these really incredibly challenging streets and sidewalks. And I was really impressed how they were able to maneuver around, well, you name it.
Yeah, things like hard to hear traffic signals, sidewalks that suddenly end in fences or construction tape. None of you have experienced that, I'm sure. And did we mention construction? It seemed like it was just popping up everywhere. And then, of course, there's the sighted community.
Right, the sighted community. So, which I'm a member of. So I started to notice how many sighted people were careless. I mean, truly oblivious, and putting some of the OTC trainees into danger. This one time I was getting off the light rail, the train in Seattle, and I saw this guy get off the train, and then he charged up the sidewalk, pushing his way between two cane users, two folks who were using canes, literally almost putting them into the street. So I raced after him to let him know what a jerk he was. And his response, he shrugged and then he turned up his music. So that I think that moment was a turning point for me, and that's when I decided to approach Sheri and Kathleen Tracy.
Ellen and I were both in a chorus, a community chorus led by Kathleen, who's a really great musician and composer.
And then we had the thought, well, let's try to create a performance piece to celebrate the BVI community while educating the sighted community.
And at first, my curiosity was really piqued when they suggested that I come meet with them and talk to Kathleen and Ellen about this. But I was at the same time skeptical at first. I've been blind since infancy and have experienced the world's curiosity about my life in ways not always positive.
Right. And I was worried that we were using such a visual medium to convey the piece. But along with Kathleen, we hauled in Laura Ferry, a wonderful director. So I knew we had this amazing creative team.
And I began inviting Kathleen and Ellen and Laura to various events around Seattle, blind community groups of different sorts, including some of the recreational things like Ski for Light, which some of you may know about. And I think we went to a beep baseball game and various other um, meetings that blind people would typically attend so that they could get to know the blind community. And as we work together, I have been super impressed with everyone's willingness to learn about and understand the diversity and similarities of life as a blind or sighted person in this complex and ever-changing world. And I just want to also say that for me personally, it's been a real story of growth as well. This experience has deepened my understanding of what it means to be a blind person and has strengthened my appreciation for our community. I hope that all the audiences that listen to this play will hear something of their own lives reflected in these stories.
So initially, due to the pandemic, we were getting ready to do a live performance, and the pandemic hit. We were really, of course, very wanting to be very careful and protective of the actors and audience members. So we instead decided to do the audio performance, which you'll be hearing tonight. And we brought people into the Jack Strass studio here in Seattle. We did, I think, a wonderful recording. But we finally decided to do a live performance this past June, and we were able to mount that production with new material, and we had the live performance this past June. Tonight, you will be actually hearing the audio performance that we previously recorded, which has a lot of our same wonderful actors.
And we hope that you will enjoy the performance of Flying Blind.
Well, I'm certainly excited. I know that we'll have a Q&A after this piece, and I know that we have some different folks during the Q&A, but I'm curious, Sheri, if you would just maybe indulge us in a few minutes of this moment that you shared about this piece bringing you a different appreciation of what it means to be blind.
Sure. I, like many of us, I guess, probably spent a good part of my life trying my best not to be blind, to act and look like a sighted person as much as possible. And as I aged, I'm 63 now, but as I got into my 40s and 50s, and that started to change somewhat, and I started understanding that I had I do have some differences from a sighted person in the way that I perceive the world, but that doesn't mean that they're lesser. They're just different.
Yeah.
And then as I began introducing Kathleen and Ellen and Laura and one of our earlier stage production people to the blind community, I really started to dial into, wow, this really is kind of a special group of people, and we really do have a lot to offer, each other and the world. And so it was really fun for me to spend time introducing them uh, to my friends and just to a different perspective sometimes.
I like this. I mean, you heard me say it in my intro that I it's been a gift for me to enter this community. I'm experiencing things that I would never have experienced in my life as a sighted person. So I guess there's been a privilege in me experiencing both things. Ellen, for you, just before we hit play, what has been the impact in doing this piece and creating these two pieces, really, but the piece that we've been going to experience tonight, and maybe we'll have an opportunity to experience the recording of the play at some point in the future. But for tonight, the audio version, what has been the impact on you doing this work?
It's been tremendous. I had no idea when I was doing this project, and getting to know Sheri better, and then so many people in the blind low vision community. It's been humbling. It's been exciting. It's been, I can't tell you the number of times I have said, "Wow, I had no idea." And I think for me, it's just been like an incredible opportunity to get to know this community that's so diverse, is taking on the world in ways that I had no idea about. So it's been wonderful.
Thank you for sharing that, Ellen. For our audience, this is an audio version, but there is a static image that is up. Ellen, do you know what the image is?
Well, this image was created by one of our advisory group friends, Sheri Simonson, and we just described the piece to her, and she came up with this graphic.
Can you share with us just a little bit of a description, just a brief description of
sure. So
what the images?
Yeah, the images are birds, a flock of birds who are flying together and then gradually fading from into darkness. So from, excuse me, from a lighter image into a darker image and then beginning to disappear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really excited to listen to this with the community. I'm really excited that you all are here, and we'll have some other guests for the Q&A, but I would invite you all to, stick your hand up and chime in if you want to when we get back to have conversation in the end, because I think your voices are really valuable in this space. So without further ado, I'm ready to hit play. Are you all ready to hit play? Yeah?
Thank you,
Sheri?
Amy.
Ellen, you ready?
Ready.
Awesome. All right, community, let's sit back and have a listen to Flying Blind. Steph, when you're ready, please hit play.
The Anything is Possible Theater presents Flying Blind, a production by, for, and about the blind, low-vision community. We acknowledge that we have recorded this production on the unceded ancestral land of the Coast Salish and Duwamish people, and honor the land and the people, both past and present.
It's feeling every step and listening to every sound, making your way through the world in the dark, sensing the barriers, the absence of solid direction, trusting your cane or your dog or your memory.
Safety is mainly a myth, with danger a minute-by-minute possibility. The flow of traffic sounding like a dangerous current, an ocean wave ready to swallow us up. So we end up on the wrong bus, an unfamiliar street corner, or heading off in the wrong direction from where we want to go.
We depend on tasks measured and labeled, on routines necessary and vital for our survival.
Oh, but sometimes we long to let go, to suspend, to lift off and take flight, to soar.
No danger, no fear. We are
Flying blind.
Can you see me? We are everywhere among you. Sometimes you don't know what to do. If I happen to be near you, do you speak or are you afraid? Are you wondering if I can find my way? I can see my own horizon. I've learned how to thrive. You might think it's a disaster. I just call it flying blind. Please don't tell me that I'm an inspiration, just for getting out the door today. Can you see that? The main obstacle's not what I can't see, but a society that's not set up for people like me. 'Cause I can see my own horizon. I've learned how to thrive. You might think it's a disaster. I just call it flying blind. Who matters? Who counts who matters? Think about it. Who counts who matters? Who counts who matters? Can you see me? Or do you think it's inconvenient? You may be one of us someday. Saying this is our world, and we have a right to be here just like you, to belong, to be free. To see our own horizon. Yeah, we know how to thrive. You might think it's a disaster. We just call it flying blind. We just call it flying blind. What I want to know is who counts who matters.
Tips for interacting with the BVI, blind and vision impaired community. Tip number 1, identify yourself and address the BVI person by name.
Hi, Peter here. Good to meet you, Mark. How you doing?
Hi, Peter. Pretty good.
Don't say.
Hey, Mark. I bet you don't know who this is.
Genghis Khan? No, wait, Julia Child? Big Bird? No, I know. Lester Holt.
Using a BVI individual's name is like making eye contact with a sighted person or wearing a name tag.
It may sound simple, but it makes a big difference.
I've wanted a guide dog since I was a little kid. I love the bond people have with their dogs. The teamwork is such a beautiful relationship. With a guide dog, you always have your best friend right by your side. You're never alone.
It's like getting the keys to a car.
Like your dad's car, the one with 6 cylinders that you're not supposed to drive.
Okay, at least that's what I thought as I was waiting for my first guide dog. I was so nervous.
What if I can't handle this? What if she doesn't like me? I hear the sound of dog feet come across the room. Then her cold nose, her warm breath is in my hand. And when I took the harness, I was unprepared for the bond coming through the harness into my hand, into my body. For the trust. The first time we took a walk, I felt like I was flying. Now we're a team. It's me and you, and we've got work to do. We're taking on the day, melting through the crowd, crossing the busy streets, being in the world with my dog.
She loves to strut and stroll around town.
He loves the airport security pat-down.
He remembers the way, so I never get lost.
So it's true sometimes. He forgets who's the boss.
She's got x-ray vision and she loves to dance.
I used to stay at home, but now I take a chance.
He never fails to warn me of danger, even when getting distracted by a stranger saying,
Can I pet your dog?
What a cute dog.
Can I pet your dog?
So sweet. Can I give a little treat?
Hey, we're working here. Stand clear.
Would I grab the steering wheel of your car?
I didn't think so.
yeah, na 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 na. You're my dog, na 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 na. You're my dog, oh my dog, oh yeah, na 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 na. You're my dog, na 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 na. You're my dog, oh my dog.
One of the hardest things is when your guide dog starts to slow down and doesn't want to work anymore.
I went for one last long walk around a lake with my guide dog. He worked with ease, but it was almost as if he knew this would be our last time working together as a team.
Nothing prepares you for retiring or losing your guide dog, especially your first one. When my dog died of lymphoma, my heart just broke. Turning in the harness was really hard.
When the harness comes off at the end of the day, and you don't have to be so intrepid and brave, you're just a dog who just wants to play. You keep me safe, you help me to be free. Come over here and rest your big heart next to me. You're my dog. Yeah, na 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 na. You're my dog. Na 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 na. You're my dog. Oh my dog. Oh yeah. Na 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 na. You're my dog. Na 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 na. You're my dog. Oh my dog.
Sound. I hear sounds. Sounds are not just talking.
They're all around. They are the texture of my world. No sound. It's sterile, cold, empty. I love all kinds of sounds. Go into a kitchen. Or a train station. Night. This is the sound of dreams coming true. Every night, sound makes me feel in contact with the world, with reality. In the morning, as my mom used to say, if you can hear birds, everything's all right. I never get tired of listening to sounds. They're so addictive. If I have a bad day, a hard day, it makes me feel good to hear, seventh heaven. I'm in the mood for animals. No, too ordinary. I want a rainforest. Nice. Let's say you're all listening to the show from a I won't tell you. Figure it out. Man, I just love sounds. Don't worry, you're safe now, wrapped in the cocoon of my sounds.
Tips for interacting with the blind, low vision community. Tip number 2, give useful directions instead of vague descriptions like over there. For example,
Excuse me, could you please give me directions to the Kinko copier store?
Dude, whoa. Hey, man, it's like, it's kind of like, like right over there. Snap.
No, no, no.
instead, say something like this.
Walk half a block to the corner, take an immediate right turn, and the store should be directly in front of you.
Thank you.
Got my top hat, got my white tie, got my cane.
Fred Astaire danced with a hat and cane, but I need mine for more than just style. I'm a cane user. I was bit by a golden retriever when I was 7, and I really don't like dogs. They smell, they're expensive, and they're such a huge responsibility.
Well, for me, it's all about comfort and ease. I like my cane. It's a long white one, although some people use graphite.
The grip is kind of like a golf club, and I've got this snazzy rolling red tip. By the way, don't let the folding segments fool you. This cane is strong.
I navigate through echolocation, listening for sounds of traffic, clapping my hands to judge distance.
But the primary form of echolocation is the tapping of the cane tip itself.
We need our canes for both sound and touch vibrations.
BVI folks have fantastic memories. For example, I know exactly how many steps from my house to the nearest Starbucks.
I go slow when I know there might be one of those stupid red bikes sprawled in my path.
We can deal with Seattle's wet, rainy days.
Sunshine with summer tourists.
Vámonos a ver the gum wall. Me encanta Pike Place. Super chido. Ay, it's so
西雅图是很
exciting.
漂亮的城市。
And even the dreaded Amazonians.
Blah, blah,
Blah,
blah,
blah, blah.
cloud storage.
Blah, 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 gigabytes.
Blah, 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 vectors.
Blah, blah, kernel.
Blah,
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 blah, teraflops.
Hey, get a room!
The white cane is super helpful, but there are challenges. It's hard to walk straight, and you sure don't look cool when you're waving the cane.
Your cane can slip under objects and miss obstacles like cracks in the pavement.
I once got trapped under a fence. Now that was not fun. I also snapped my cane in the spokes of a wheelchair.
And then there's the sighted community.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sighted people, will you please check your privilege? For example, when I locate an object with my cane, that's not a problem at all. It's exactly what the cane is supposed to do. So don't go all protective on me when I hit the wall.
Oh my gosh, can I help you? You just hit a wall.
I know, I'm not bumping into it, I'm finding it.
Hey, low vision community, has this happened to you? I'm just traveling down the street minding my own business when this idiot jumps over my cane and breaks it. Hey, watch it! You just broke my cane!
Stephen, be careful.
Is he yours?
Yes, he's my boyfriend.
Well, you ought to think twice about having a boyfriend that would jump over a blind person's cane.
Stephen, you idiot, what were you thinking? That was so embarrassing.
Of course, then there are the things you do to yourself. I once lost my cane in a closet. Cowbell. Cat. Pogo stick? Where is it?
Ooh, but the worst was the time I couldn't find my cane for almost a week. I came home, dropped off my stuff, set my cane somewhere, and then I couldn't remember where I left it. I felt so stupid. I searched up and down the house, feeling along the walls, but I couldn't find it. After a few days, I was losing my mind, so I unscrewed a broom and used the stick for a cane. Finally, a friend came over and found it for me. It was under the window.
Each guide dog is different, but to a sighted person, every white cane looks the same. So we get creative with different ways to recognize our cane, using cane charms, stickers, and even colors.
And when your cane gets tired out, don't stick it back in your junk drawer. Donate it to the You Can Give program, which supplies canes to the blind in India, Mexico, China, and Africa. That way, the BVI community across the globe can just keep tapping.
노보 아캬샤 캬라바야 온나리캬 마리보리 소아카. This is a Sanskrit Buddhist mantra meaning connecting to the universe and fifth dimension.
So, Megumi, tell me about your vision loss. What was your initial diagnosis?
When I started losing my vision, I was diagnosed with retinosis pigmentosa. And then I asked my doctor, am I going to be blind? He said yes and no. Not now, but later. 15 years later, I am very low vision. And my life is full of challenges.
What are some of those challenges?
Driving. And then I have to give up my business because it's really hard to do accounting with low vision. When something like this happens to you, you look at your life very differently.
Wow, that's tough. I mean, that's a real tragedy.
No, it's not a tragedy. It's actually a discovery and awakening. I didn't want to waste my time making money. I wanted to start living. So I studied Buddhism and learned how to concentrate on what I can do instead of what I cannot do.
That makes sense. So how have you learned to deal with your low vision? For example, can you still travel?
Yes, I do go to Tokyo every once in a while.
What's it like to be low vision in Tokyo?
In Tokyo, there's so many subways and trains everywhere, and also braille blocks everywhere for the directions.
Braille blocks, what are they? Can you explain that?
So braille blocks are the raised bumps on the ground lead you to places.
So what other kinds of help do you get on the public transportation in Japan?
Station employees put me on the right train. Then they even call ahead to the next station for the help with the next step of my journey. That is so helpful. I love it.
So what kind of careers were traditionally open to the blind in Japan?
For a long time, there's tradition in Japan. The blind could become musicians, acupuncturists, and masseuse. And those jobs are sort of protected by the government. Oh, there is a known fact in the north part of Japan. There's blind psychic mediums.
Why psychic mediums?
Well, because some of us can look into your soul.
So what did you decide to do?
Well, so I decided to study quantum physics and relativity theory. So here's my question. According to Einstein's relativity theory, entire universe is full of energy. We can only see 4.6% of the known universe, and rest of it we cannot see. So why concentrate on the part that we can see instead of rest of 95%? From the Heart Sutra. 色即是空空即是色重創業色悪無尿是シャリシ
Tips for interacting with the blind low vision community. Tip number 3. People who are visually impaired do not like to be grabbed or towed around.
I mean, who would?
It's awful, so intrusive, and dangerous.
And unfortunately, it happens all too often. I'll tell you about a really scary experience. I was in the airport with my guide dog. Fiona, find the escalator. Good girl. We're close. I'll just reach my hand out and find the banister.
Do you need any help?
No, thank you. You see, I was focusing on feeling the vibration under my feet, which helps me locate the metal ridge where the moving stairs begin. When all of a sudden...
But I can help you.
So she grabs me, and I feel myself start to wobble. I'm thinking, this is it. This woman's gonna kill both me and my dog. Let go of me. Luckily, I was able to grab the handrail, and we were okay.
For heaven's sake, I was only trying to help.
I get that, but you didn't respect me telling you I didn't want your help. It's really dangerous to try and help anyone without permission.
I can see that now. Oh my God. I mean, is it okay to say see? I mean, I didn't mean to do.
Fine. The moral of this story is just ask us and listen to our answer. We love to be asked and have our answer respected.
And we also adore it when someone tells us we're about to be hit by a 40-ton truck.
Because, hey, we're people just like you.
Welcome to today's episode of On the Job, the job interview.
Mr. Bowers. Sorry, I'm late. Okay. It says here that you worked for United Airlines for, 3 years?
That's right.
On time, hardly missed a day of work, strong work ethic, team leader, good attention to details, etc., etc. Wow. I have to admit, this is impressive.
Thank you.
But it doesn't say why you left.
I was going to tell you. I was actually going to mention that
wait a minute. It says you made a complaint.
I want to explain that.
With the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission?
Yes.
For some kind of accommodation?
That's correct. You see, they didn't have the right
regarding something called JAWS?
Yes. JAWS is a computer program which translates text into speech. It allows me to hear what's written on the computer.
And this is something you need because...
Because
Wait a minute. Are you, like, kind of blindish?
No, I'm not kind of blindish. I am blind.
Oh. Okay. Well, thanks for telling me. I think we have everything we need here. We'll, be in touch.
You mean the interview is over?
Yep. We have everything we need.
Well, do you want my references?
Sure. Just give them to the receptionist on your way out.
Okay, thanks for seeing me. I really appreciate it. And you'll let me know?
Yeah. We'll let you know.
You know, I never did hear from them. Not even a letter letting me know that I didn't get the position.
That concludes today's episode of On the Job. See you, tune in next time.
Hey Siri, play forest sounds.
I don't see that in your Apple Music.
Alexa, play forest sounds.
Here are 4 sounds from your Amazon Music library.
Now, why couldn't Siri be that good?
See, Siri, I'm so much better trained to help people.
Yeah, right, Alex Echo Computer, whatever you're called.
Hey, I can read books out loud for blind people.
I can read out loud too, Allegra, and...
Mademoiselle, pardonnez-moi, je suis Louis Braille.
Google Translate?
Vous ne parlez pas français? Excusez-moi. I am Louis Braille. I invented the system of raised dots that enables the blind to read. The world calls it Braille in my honor.
Who needs your system of dots anymore when they have us?
Bien. Braille is the only system that allows the blind to read for themselves rather than hearing other people read to them.
Hey Siri, tell me the story of Louis Braille.
Thanks for asking. Louis Braille was born in France in 1809 and lost his sight at the age of 3. His parents sent him to school in Paris,
No.
where...
Je vais raconter mon histoire moi-même. When I was 15 years old, I first began to develop my system. Let me take you back in time. Mon Dieu, everything we learn as blind students must be memorized. So tedious. But what if we had a system of raised dots that you could read with your fingertips? We raised dots, representing each letter of the alphabet. Ooh la 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 la. Let me think. Voila! 6 dots, 2 across and 3 down.
You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dots. Mixing them up does quite a lot. 2 dots across and 3 dots down. Writing Braille is not fooling around. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dots. Mixing them up does quite a lot. A has 1 dot, D has 3. 63 patterns mathematically. Use them for numbers, use them for caps. Punctuation, it's just a snap. Use those dots for music notes. Write whatever rocks your boat. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dots. Mix and match and take a shot. Write to grandma, read a book, compose an opera, take a look. See all the things that Braille can do. The world's your oyster, it's up to you. Avec 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 little dots.
So, you invented all of this when you were just 15?
Bien. I didn't finish till I was 16.
It's brilliant.
Oui. A mere 6 dots can be used to read and write words in any language. Blind people all over the world now read in Braille.
Well, that sounds good, but where would the world be without Steve Jobs and the iPhone? First, he put a computer into everyone's hands, the iPhone, and then he gave the world me.
Qu'est-ce que c'est? What is this iPhone? What can it do?
Louis, you're gonna love it. All iPhones come with a screen reading software called VoiceOver. Just touch the screen.
Calendar, Saturn, photos, camera, notes, maps, clock, mail.
Magnifique! Fantastic!
I can use my iPhone to shop, deposit checks, listen to videos, music, email, text, use GPS.
Email, text, GSP?
GPS. Computers and modern technology have opened up so many windows for us. Now, VoiceOver is built into Apple products.
Like me.
So it won't work on Microsoft devices. So for PCs, we use another screen reading software called JAWS.
JAWS? Sounds violent.
It stands for Job Access with Speech. Listen.
Apple products were not accessible until the 1990s.
You can even change the speed.
Now Apple sees accessibility as a basic human right. Their products are accessible by design. The iOS supports Braille displays in over 20-5 different languages.
Mon Dieu, that's faster than even most Frenchmen.
Or New Yorkers. So thank you, Louie, for opening that first store. And thanks to Steve and all of the web designers and software engineers and all of the rest of you techies out there who remember to keep the world accessible for all.
Merci mille fois. So show me again, s'il vous plaît. How do you make this thing to read?
Okay. So you just flick.
Flick? Flick? I love this flick.
Welcome back to On the Job. Our next episode, Workplace Accommodations. A woman with low vision sits behind a computer. She's frustrated, staring at her screen, occasionally making obscene gestures.
If you tell me one more time Control-Alt-Delete is the answer to my dreams, I'll bloody... Where is that stupid tech guy?
Are you the one who asked for the all scripts manual?
Who are you?
Zach from the tech team.
Never heard of you. How long you worked here?
About 20 minutes, couple of days, 2 years. Does it really matter? I'm the stupid tech guy. Here you go.
What is this?
The manual.
It's hundreds of pages in tiny print. I can't read this.
We installed the program. We do not support it.
This is ridiculous. What am I supposed to do with this machine? Nothing is working.
Try pushing the red button.
Where the hell is the red button?
Next to the green button.
Oh, which I'm sure is next to the yellow button. But in this low light, I cannot see red or green or yellow.
Look, I don't make the rules, and I don't have time to babysit you.
The tech guy exits as the woman goes back to her desk.
Oh, I am the only visually impaired person in this company, and I do really good work. But what I really need are the goddamn tools to do my job. I mean, do you know that 70% of working age blind people in the U.S. are unemployed? And that makes me crazy. The fact that we navigate through this world without sight makes us pretty savvy human beings. Yet the sighted world has such low expectations for us and no idea of what we can really do.
And that concludes today's episode of On the Job. See you next time for more insights into working blind.
Spanning the country to bring you stories of a variety of sports, the thrill of victory, and the agony of defeat. This is Anything is Possible's wide world of blind sports.
Goal! Yes! Haha! And thank you all for staying quiet while I made that last shot. The players need to hear the puck, so it's important that the crowd stays quiet.
So, tell us, how did you get involved in the sport?
When I first heard about blind ice hockey, I was super excited. I had always wanted to try the sport, and here was a league made especially for blind and visually impaired players like me.
What's your team called?
My team's name is the Seattle Insights. Great name, right?
Yeah. So, what do you love about the game?
What I love about the game is how active and how physical the game can be. I mean, in what other sport can you accidentally check each other and it's okay?
Tell us about that puck.
Our puck is much bigger than a regular hockey puck. And listen, those are ball bearings inside of it. When I first started playing, it was hard for me to pick out the noise of the puck from all the other noises going on in the arena. But now I'm on it all the time.
How did you learn to skate and play the game?
I learned to skate as I learned the game. Skating is a great workout and it's also good for balance. We have sighted players who help us out during practices, and my parents are a big help too. Our coach plays for the USA blind hockey team and he's awesome.
Any last thoughts for our audience?
Yes! Blind people can really do anything they put their minds to. So if I want to play blind ice hockey, I'm gonna do it.
This has been another episode of Anything is Possible's Wide World of Blind Sports.
Okay, that's 5, 10, 15, 20, makes $50 and change.
Was that a 5 or a 10 you just gave me?
It was a 5.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
Can you look one more time? I have to put the bills in a certain order. I have a system. See, 1's like this, then the 5s, then I put the 10s like this, and the 20s this way.
Look, lady, there's people waiting. I gave you the right change. Now please, move along.
It's always this way. They don't understand. How am I supposed to know? The money all feels the same. Is this a 5, a 20, a 1?
That's a 1, all right. There's old George Washington right on the front.
Abe Lincoln?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, Abe.
George Washington!
At your command.
And you? What is your name?
Hamilton. My name is Alexander Hamilton, at your service. That's me on the 10. Handsome, don't you think? Unlike poor George on that $1 bill. Bad lighting, George.
Dear God, I'm a 1. Just a 1. Only a 1. I'm the father of this country, and they put me on a 1?
Come on, George, that's not the point.
Agreed, that's not the point. What is the point?
The point is, I can't tell the difference between any of these bills. 5, 10, 20, any of them. You're all jumbled together.
For heaven's sake, why not?
Can't you see she's blind?
And apparently the money feels exactly the same.
How does she know the difference?
Gentlemen, gentlemen, she's got a system. Listen.
If it's a 5, I put it like this. If a 10, I place it like that. Did she put it like this? Did I feel it like that? Or plunk it like this? Or, oh, what did she do when I asked for the change? Was it really so strange how I asked for the change to be? What do I say to get the right pay in my hand?
But a 1,
Oh,
just
what did she
a 1.
do
I
when
should be
asked
more
for
than a
the
1.
change?
I'm the father of the country, and they put me on a 1. But a 1, just a 1. I should be more than a 1. I'm the father of the country.
Stop! The point is, every time I get back change, I have to trust that I'm getting the right amount. We've been asking for years to make the bills a different size or feel like the Canadian dollar or the English pound.
What she is asking for is really quite reasonable.
Queen Elizabeth?
It's really quite simple, you know. You go to the people who are having the difficulty and ask them what they need.
I would like money that is made so that you can feel the difference between each denomination.
Precisely. And then you sort it out. End of story.
End of scene.
Spotlight on. Be My Eyes. Today we turn our focus to the mobile app, Be My Eyes. This free app connects the video of a blind, low-vision individual with that of a sighted volunteer.
I had an important job interview today, and a Be My Eyes volunteer helped me coordinate my outfit. Now I know I'm dressed for success because I'm wearing my very special lucky tie.
The special help feature on the app even connects users to specialists at companies such as Clear Blue.
This is Clear Blue. How can I help you today?
Hi, my husband is currently deployed on active duty, so he can't help me read my test. I'm so nervous.
It's okay. I'm happy to help. Just turn the camera on your phone a bit more so I can see the stick. There. The indicator says pregnant.
Oh my goodness! I can't believe it! We've been trying for so long. Thank you.
Every woman wants to be in control of her reproductive health information. Whether the news is joyful, upsetting, or mixed, I feel honored to be that conduit.
Be My Eyes has volunteers across the globe, so if you are looking for ways to support the blind and low vision community, joining Be My Eyes as a sighted volunteer could be your first step.
Stampede Pass. Isn't it beautiful? Oh, I know it may sound funny for a blind skier to say this, but I can imagine it. The mountains, the snow shimmering in the light. I learned about Ski for Light from a presentation at the Washington Council of the Blind. It sounded like so much fun, going to the mountains with a group of people and playing in the snow. When I first started skiing, I just couldn't get the hang of it. That stupid kick and glide. And I was terrified of falling all the time. So I almost quit. But then I had a guide who was able to communicate technique to me in a way that made sense.
Okay, turn your tips to the right, to 1 o'clock.
Like this?
Perfect. Now take one full step to the right. Great. One more. Okay, you're in the tracks. Ready?
Yes.
Let's go. There's a slight downhill coming up. Curving to the left. Curving more. And now straight ahead. The tracks are deep and clear. Okay, let's slow down. Sounds like some folks are right behind us.
And coming up fast.
You got that right. Okay, I'm going to step into your tracks while they zoom past us.
Okay.
Tracks! All right. Are you up for the roller coaster trail today?
Sure. Why not? It was the light bulb moment. I finally started to feel the gliding sensation for the first time, and I loved it. Soon I was gliding across the snow with confidence. These days, I share my joy of skiing with so many friends who over the years have become like family to me.
Imagine a simple trip to the store.
I reach for the door and then feel for the handle. How many surfaces have I touched? 2, 4, 6?
Being visually impaired, we have to rely on tactile input, but we end up touching so many more surfaces than a sighted person.
So I finish shopping and head back into the street, where someone wants to help me to the crosswalk.
At first you think, great.
But we can't tell if they're wearing a mask or not. Can we even ask?
Awkward.
They extend their arm. I finally decide to take it and thank them.
But you have no idea if you've been exposed to the virus or not.
And staying 6 feet away?
Right. How am I supposed to do that?
I was thinking about wearing a gigantic hoop skirt.
Or a tutu with 6 foot diameter.
But seriously, my guide dog has been trained to go into crowds, right smack dab in the middle. My dog loves people.
Speaking of guide dogs, I've been waiting for my guide dog for 2 years, And I finally got the call.
There's a match. Molly's ready and can't wait to meet you.
A beautiful Labrador puppy. But then
COVID came and everything shut down.
including my rendezvous with Molly. Now I don't know when or if I'll ever get to meet her.
On the other hand, it's not all doom and gloom.
Wait,
Wait,
what?
I mean, think about it. We are amazing at adapting to change.
Okay, that is true. We are used to adversity.
I mean, let's face it, that's pretty much the story of our lives.
For instance, I finally landed a job. And the first thing the interviewer said was,
Well, you seem to have all the right skill sets, but would you mind working remotely?
"Mind working remotely? Are you kidding me?"
All the accommodations we've been asking for.
Demanding.
Legislating for.
Are finally being implemented.
Thank us later, sighted community.
Mainly, we want you to know
We count.
we matter.
And we're still flying blind.
Join us.
We can see our own horizon. Yeah, we know how to thrive. You might think it's a disaster. We just called it. We just call it flying blind.
You have been listening to Anything is Possible's production of Flying Blind, directed by Laura Ferry with musical composition, direction, and sound design by Kathleen Tracy. Featuring Rebecca Bell, Hannah Hooper, Michael J. Loggins, Jennifer Lund, Shermona Mitchell, Dan Ortner, Dave Ortner, Jerry Takens, and Megumi Tanaka. Our production stage manager was Wendy Blackwood. This performance has been created by Ellen Cooper, Laura Ferry, Sheri Richardson, and Kathleen Tracy from conversations with members of the blind and low vision community throughout King County and Washington State. It was recorded at Jack Straw Cultural Center in Seattle, Washington, with Joel Maddox serving as audio engineer. Songs were mixed by David Lang at David Lang Studios. The production was copyrighted in 2021 by Anything is Possible Theater. This audio play has been made possible by generous grants from For Culture and Smart Ventures, and with donations to our company made during annual Give Big campaigns. Special thanks to the Lighthouse for the Blind, Ski for Light, Washington Council of the Blind, the Washington State Department of Services for the Blind Orientation and Training Center, Seed Arts, Kelly Craig, Sylvie Mae Baldwin, Françoise Bernard, Catherine Levazier, Annie Loggins, Lisa Maynard, Jill Myers, Rachel Smith-Ferry, Natalie Traw, Reverend Tai Joey Monica of Seattle Koyusan Buddhist Temple, and the AIP Advisory Group, Sherry Simonson, Clover Thurk, and Meredith Jacobson. We especially want to thank all of the blind and visually impaired individuals who shared their stories with us. Thank you so much for your honesty, openness, and passion. We dedicate this production to you.
All right, friends, we are back. That's Flying Blind. We've got some new guests in the space. Of course, you heard their names in the credits. So we've got Laura joining us, we've got Kathleen joining us, and we've got Geri and like a whole team of cast on a couch. This sounds like an episode of Friends, doesn't it? Like a whole cast on a couch. I think that sounds like an episode of Friends. So before we say hello to everybody, Geri, who have you got on the couch in your living room?
Is my audio on?
Your audio's on.
Okay, cool. That's amazing. On the couch with me is to my right, which would be to your left if you're seeing, is Dan Ortner, who was Louis Braille and many other things. And to my left or to your right is Dave Ortner. They're identical twins and amazing cast members.
Dan and Dave and Geri. Okay. All right. We got the cast on the couch. I love it. And so we've got Laura, director, and Kathleen, I guess, I want to call you a sound engineer, but you're the composer and musical creative. So Flying Blind, that was really fun to listen to. I have a feeling that it resonated with a whole bunch of folks in this space. We already have a hand, but I'm going to just wait a moment before we get to that hand, because I want to just open this up to see if there's any initial comments about this, because I started asking Ellen about the impacts of this work. And Laura, you're from the sighted community. Kathleen, you're from the sighted community. Geri and Dan and Dave, you're members of the blind and low vision community. So for Kathleen and Laura, in working with the blind community, like, was this your first time working with them on a project? And if so, what was that like? Laura, maybe we'll start with you.
I'm a playwright director, so I had worked with a blind actor many years ago. So it had been about, I don't know, 8 years. And I'd only worked with one actor, and he was just playing a role in a play. He was playing it. I just made the role a blind character. It wasn't, we didn't design the show for him. This was my first experience working with a cast of blind actors doing a play about the blind and low vision community.
Okay. Kathleen, what about for you?
Similarly for me, it's the first project that I worked on involving having blind people at the center. Yeah. And from the ground up, just learning and researching and, spending years just listening and listening and listening before it was even possible to start creating the show. So
years, how many years?
Well, as Ellen mentioned, we started this in 2017. Yeah. And, right from the get-go, as a sighted person, I was like, I have a lot to learn before I could even approach writing music for this show. So, Sheri was just the ultimate escort into that community and really, giving us access to people. And then they told us their stories, and it's real stories that are reflected in the show. So we didn't make up anything. It's all stuff that was told to us. So yeah, so it was a lot of listening.
So go ahead, Laura.
Well, I was going to say, and then once you start working with we wrote the script, but then we get our cast. The cast is like, and they're laughing. The cast is like, oh, no. This is what you need to say. And this is really happened. And so it was a huge collaboration with them. And they were extremely impactful and helpful throughout the whole process.
They didn't realize we were getting a cast of editors.
Right. Well, come on, nothing about us without us, right?
Right.
That's right. So Geri, Dan, Dave, was this the first time for you all that you had been involved in a theater project from like the acting and creative perspective? Who wants to take that one on first?
I guess I've been an actor my whole life. I was a visually impaired actor for most of the time. I went totally blind in 2009. So I really hadn't acted from that time until this. So I really was, this was a really joy to be able to get back and do something again on stage. And it was wonderful. The first time I actually acted totally blind, and that was a little scary at first, and then it was wonderful. And Laura was so collaborative.
And which brother was that? Was that Dan?
Dan, yes.
Yeah. Okay, great. Because I bet you sound similar.
It took me a while to tell them apart.
Geri, was it the first time for you to be a part of something like this?
It was. I had done. I'm also a composer and speaker, and so I've done a lot of presentations using music and talking about diversity, mainly with educators. But I pretty much been acting my whole life. So, and it's a passion of mine. So to do this was just like a dream come true. So it was really, really awesome.
Awesome. Dave, anything you want to share?
I don't act, actually. I primarily write short fiction and poetry, and that's my focus. But I was in one play with Dan, my twin brother, where we played twins when we both had more sight. And so this was actually really the most intensive acting experience I've ever had. So it was a lot of fun, and it was a challenge as well.
Well, I have a ton more questions, but I just want to get to these hands because I know we're getting kind of a lineup here. So
Can I just throw in here that
absolutely
two things. One is this is the RP totally blind acting couch that we're all sitting on. And my guide dog Fiona, who played in the actual live play, is on the floor here. And I just want to just say one really important thing is that we were all blown away by how incredibly insightful the writing of the play and Kathleen's music. They just got it. They got, for sighted people, they did okay. So.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I mean, good allies, right? We need good allies in our space. So kudos to good allies. Okay, let's go with Linda H and then Megan.
Geri, it's Linda. I've been telling you about this VocalEye for months and years. Amy, this is my best friend.
Since we were 8, so that's 63 years.
Yes, yes, and you know what? Either I'm probably going to come see you because you're going to get a new dog, and I know it's a tough time, but oh my, I can't believe that I'm on here. Don't worry, Amy, I'll check and see if you know how your Apple Card something gets denied once in a while. I got to see if I've still got a subscription going, and if not, I'm going to renew it. Oh my gosh, I was out in Seattle, and Sheri, I remember you too. If you're the person, you had a very fuzzy, soft, wonderful dog. Yes. Yes.
Yes, that would be me.
Yes, I met you when we were skiing, cross country skiing. Yes. So anyway, what was I saying? My old whatever. So I was out in Seattle and was leaving. I left the day of when everything shut down, you know, and people started calling Geri. I thought she had the strangest friends because they started calling her on Saturday and saying things like, would you like some toilet paper? A lot of toilet paper. Yeah. What is going on here? You know, but we have been friends for 63 years. And Geri is an author and she's written books. And in the book, my name is, you know, on the iPhone is Linda H. But I would just say to her when she was 8 and she'd argue, why do I have to do this? And I'd say, just do it. I am so happy to be here.
Glad you're here, Linda.
I love it when we make connections in this space. That's really nice.
Well, I mean, yes. Well, anyway, that is, it's really, it is serendipitous. Is that the word? It is, I don't know what to say. It's more than that, but that's the word that comes. I'll let other people talk. Geri, I'll give you a call. Yeah. Sheri, nice to talk to you again.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks, Linda. All right, Megan, my friend, you're up. We'll give Megan a moment.
Yes. Okay.
There you go.
That was amazing. When you did the brass bowl, I have a singing bowl myself actually. When they played that, like, oh, that really got me. And I'm like, yes, you know. And when she talked about Tokyo, I've been in Tokyo, but what part of Japan was the psychic from? Was that from Tokyo? And if Tokyo. What part of Tokyo were they from? Because I did not see any psychics when I was there.
Well, Megumi mentioned that it was the north part of Japan where
darn.
they, you know, there was this history of psychic mediums that were blind.
Oh, I would have loved to see if I went there. I went to Tokyo, but I didn't go in northern.
Nope, Megan, you got to go back.
Yeah, I do. And also when he said about COVID, about staying 6 feet away, there is a way you can actually do it. It's called the companion cane. I have one myself. I actually showed everybody that everybody at the VocalEye in Bar on the Beach. I think a couple of years ago. And remember I showed you, Amy, the companion cane?
Yeah. Why didn't you explain to folks what it is?
What it is, it's actually what it is it's like it folds, but it extends long. So the person on one hand, the person that's sighted, holds the hand, the guided holds the hand on one side, and the blind person holds the other side, and the side guide would actually just use the cane and would just guide you with that part of the cane.
Oh,
you have it's like a 6 foot length. You're holding one end.
That's
Although
awesome.
if you're traveling by yourself,
no,
it
that's
doesn't
gonna be
work,
hard. Well, you could still use it. You mean you could ask the person, can you hold on to my companion cane? And then they're like, okay. So the person just has to hold on to one end, and they just when he starts walking, you start that kind of thing, right?
I suppose. Let's hope we don't have to go back to those times, Megan.
No.
Let's hope.
But
Thank
if you
you.
try to guide differently, that would help me because it'll be 6 feet away. It's really easy, really easy. I don't have it with it right now, but it's there. It's really cool.
Thanks, Megan, for
really
giving us that
helpful if you're hiking in the woods or something where it's really narrow.
Yeah.
I could use that in hiking. That's thanks for that. That was really good.
You're welcome. You get that at VocalEye. It's a company made in a blind company for blind people in Scotland. They actually do guided tours there in Scotland. They go all over the world. It's called VocalEye.
Yeah.
And the leader, the owner of it is Amar Latif. He's Scottish as well. He started the whole thing, and I guess the company, the group, thought of an idea to make the companion cane, and now I got it, and it's so easy. I'll have to, it's really cool.
Awesome. Thanks, Megan. Appreciate that tip. And
You're welcome. You're absolutely welcome.
We got another hand from Karim, one of the many travelers. Give Karim a moment to unmute. Sometimes, technology being what it is. While we're waiting for Karim to unmute, I will share that there's a moment where they're talking about the 6 feet distance where they talk about wearing a big hoop dress.
Oh yeah.
And I did. Some of the folks in this space know this already. Hang on, Karim. I'll just finish my thought, and then you can come in. Some of the folks in this space have heard me talk about this before, but I did a kind of a spoof in a pandemic video where I put on a whole bunch of PPE because you couldn't find stuff, right? You couldn't find stuff, so I went around my house like, what can I make as PPE? So I put a plastic bag on my head because we were whatever. I made homemade PPE, and one of the things I did was put a hula hoop around my waist with a pair of suspenders to try and create a force field.
Oh yeah.
So it was ridiculous, but it made the point. Anyways, Karim, that really resonated with me, the hula hoop or the hoop dress. Go ahead, Karim. It's your space.
Yeah, sorry, I got stuck in one of the menus. Couldn't get out.
No problem.
Okay, yeah, sorry. I just want to add to Megan. Unfortunately, VocalEye went out of business because of the pandemic.
Not surprised, unfortunately. The pandemic did a number on lots of folks, Lots of businesses.
Yeah.
Thanks for the update.
So they're not there, so you can't get that companion cane from them. But if they were selling it, they may have gotten it from the RNIB, the Royal National Institute for the Blind in England. So they could be selling it there. Otherwise, you can just use your regular cane. If you've got two of them, one you hold, and if you got an old one, extended, and there you go. You got about 5 feet, 4 to 5 feet distance between you and others.
The only problem with that, with the regular cane, is because of the elastic cord. If the person, it pulls apart, right? If you're
you just gotta tell them to slow down a bit.
Yeah, that never works.
That also, you could also they actually did start up again. Actually, they did start up again. And
okay,
now
I'm checking their website, and it's still at March 2020.
All right, friends, you can take that offline.
There's no new trips.
You can all take that offline and do your own. You might travel research. We can talk about that later. Let's focus on flying blind. But thanks for the information.
Okay.
All right. Let's go back to this idea of creating this piece. So we have a group of blind folks. How many blind folks would you say you consulted around developing these stories? How many people do you think you talked to, Laura?
We talked to so many people. I don't even think I can have a number in my head. I would say, I don't know, 80 to 90 different people.
Wow.
And because we went to blind book clubs and, Washington Council of the Blind and different chapters, all, not just to one, but we went to chapters all over the city. And, I went down to Burien and Kathleen and Ellen did Ski for Light and went and did all the different sports things. And we had workshops where we get people together. We got a whole bunch of people who had dogs, guide dogs, and we chatted with them. And then we talked to people about, workplace discrimination. And so we did, kind of focused group workshops. So we talked to so many people. And then some people, we had questionnaires and some people, wrote in answers. Kathleen, is there anything I missed?
Well, we went to a guide dog convention, which was really fun. I mean, there were many, many things, as you were saying, and we just went to all of them because we really wanted a broad spectrum, multi-generational, just as many people as we could talk to. So, and that's why it took so long.
And then
we needed all of those conversations, and then we needed to drill down on what are the issues. There's so many issues. So many things did not get into this play that we heard.
Well, then I suppose you start to hear like repeating stories, repeating issues, and you're like, okay, that really needs to be talked about because many people have brought this same thing up.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what was really funny is that I think the question that would elicit the most is, what do you think the sighted community needs to know? And then people would just go to town, like, they need to know this. They need, the blind and low vision community in Seattle was so feisty and fierce, and they were passionate and they were expressive, and we couldn't take notes fast enough because people were just so articulate and just so anxious, and there was such a need to get their stories out and to make us, understand. So there was not a lack of material. There was so much. There's so much.
So
we also went to places they had targeted, they put groups together for us. We went to the orientation training center and they had a group of people for us to chat with, and, we did tours. A lot.
Well, it sounds like, as you say, you didn't have a lack of resources. So that's great that people wanted to participate in something like this. And now I'm curious about when you take these stories and now, Kathleen, you want to turn them into songs. What's that process like for you?
Well, I was just gathering little pieces of things that jumped out at me to try and get to the heart of what that experience is like for people. And I remember we went out to brunch with this couple, both of whom have, ironically, the same degenerative eye disease that ultimately led them to be blind. And Tony was one of these people. And he talked about how when this process first started, he was like, this is a total disaster. What is happening to my life? And then he, as he talked about it and he'd been through the process and he reflected back, he's like, I used to think this was a disaster, but now I don't think that anymore. Yeah. And it's kind of like, Amy, what you were saying about the gift that it gave you and the other aspects of the world that it opened up to him. And so that's where that line from the theme song, you may think it's a disaster, I just call it flying blind. Yeah. And so I would wait to hear, in the midst of this avalanche of stories we heard, those little things that really felt like that pivot for someone. I mean, that's one example. So again, it just took a lot of listening, and that just rang so true to me. And the cast reflected back to me that it rang true to them as well. So then I knew I was onto something. And I just looked for feedback when I would create a song, and oh boy, would I get it, which I love.
And are you the vocals too?
No. Many people did vocals.
Okay.
Jen Lund did the vocal on the lead song. I was in this particular audio production, I'm in the background vocals, doing things just because we had to do a lot of stuff in-house because of just the circumstances of the pandemic.
What you need to know is we rehearsed this on Zoom.
Oh.
Kathleen had to teach the songs on Zoom. And if you know that, it's so hard.
Well,
So
our people are awesome. I mean, they totally got it. And so people were just so, versatile, as the blind community is, adaptable, they just kind of go for it. And, that served us well in this project for sure.
Yeah, I know how hard that is. I also did a pandemic musical over Zoom where we were all, our musical director was trying to teach us musical numbers over Zoom with multiple cast members, and it was challenging, but a really interesting exercise. So I was really grateful for the process. So then we've got songs, and we've got a script, and then we've got folks from the community that come in and edit the script. And originally, perhaps this was supposed to be a stage thing, and then you pivot to this being an audio thing because, well, life throws us lemons and we make lemonade. When you thought about auditioning a cast, what was that? Was that an actual audition? Or did you go to the community that you had asked for stories and just said, what was that process, Laura? And then I want to ask Geri and folks.
We asked people if they'd be interested in the project. And then I did have everybody audition primarily so I could get a sense of them as an actor, where they were coming from, what, and you have to also remember, I just had a name because this is pandemic. I just had a name. Yeah. So, being able to listen to them on Zoom and chat with them, and, so we got our cast. And one of the things was when we were going to do this live, when we initially planned to do this live, we were going to have a larger cast, but we were severely limited by the number of microphones that we could have in the recording studio. There was very strict pandemic protocol at that point. And so I had to go back and change the script so that there were no more than a certain number of characters in a scene at a time, because I could only have so many microphones. And then I had to come up with a schedule where I just kind of shuffled the actors in and out of the recording studio so that we could record this, because we just had to deal with the restrictions. Right. So I was very lucky. Jen, one of the women in the cast, she had been a theater major. Dan had done a lot of stuff. Geri was really comfortable singing. And then Dave and Hannah were just right on board for trying stuff. And then the two sighted actors were professional actors in town. So they kind of, it was, on Zoom for them was a fairly simple process. But we have a whole range of different blind actors. We have two actors who read Braille, one actor who had to learn her lines through listening through the computer, and then Dave and Dan didn't have computers at that point, so we had to record their lines for them. And fortunately, they're very, very quick studies, so they memorize their lines really fast.
So what was the process like for Dan and Dave and Geri in terms of being in the recording studio? It sounds like some of you were naturals anyways, but for some folks, mic work is new, and there's popping of the mics, and how close do you get? And sometimes even with my microphone, because I tend to talk with my hands, I knock it and it doesn't make any noise on my end, but it certainly makes noise on the listener's end. What was that process like for you? Dave, you want to share any tips or tricks or barriers that you experienced in the recording studio?
Well, it was a new experience for me. I never did any voiceover work or anything like that. So, but it was kind of challenging. The first run through that I had, I was messed it all up, and so we had to do two or three different takes. And after that, I finally got it. I finally got close enough to the mic, as you said, and I was able to run I was in the interview scene with the other actress Shimona, and we worked pretty well. But the first time I ran through it was very rough, and so as I said, had to do it a couple of times. But eventually, I got comfortable with the mic and with acting without anybody else.
Geri, how about for you?
So I had, like I said, I'd done a lot of singing publicly with mics and stuff, because it is a different experience to hear your voice come out someplace else. But
I'm going to do a comparison between the audio or the studio recording and the live performance. So in the studio, I could read the Braille while I was, and then when we did the live play, it's like, holy crap, how am I going to remember all these lines? You know, so I'm 71, right? So my memory isn't like Dave and Dan's. And so that was challenging, but I did it thanks to Laura. And then the other piece was the singing. So when you're singing in separate, like they would tape me and maybe one other background person, and then if I did the background, then I was, so it's really harder to sing when you're not all together. We're on stage in the live play, we were all there, and and so we could sing off of each other. Basically, I need to hear the harmonies, right? And so that was a whole lot easier. I want to say one thing about Laura. So when the pandemic came, I accused her of making the pandemic come so she didn't have to direct a batch of people on stage, right? Little did I know her capabilities. She did an amazing, there was often 6 blind people on the stage moving about together, and she did it. I mean, her direction was so it was really freaking amazing. The live play was really a great experience. But the beauty of the audio is, like, if you messed up, they could just redo it. So.
Yeah, you don't have the same privilege when you're live on a stage.
That part was a lot easier.
Dan, anything you want to share?
Yeah, I've done a little bit of work in the past, so it wasn't too alien, but it came around. I felt pretty natural doing it, but as Geri was saying, most of the blind actors were reading from the script, and when I had more vision, I've done a few stage reading where you just read from the script and do some movement. But here, Dave and I, since our Braille is very rusty, we only learned Braille some years ago when we first went totally blind, and our Braille is not very good anymore. So we had to memorize the script. So it was more like learning a line for a play, like we had done it. We'd be doing it on stage.
Mm-hmm.
But fortunately, Dave and I had very good memory, so we didn't have any message most of it. I felt really natural after a few minutes. A very professional job, so that was really helpful.
It's great. There's great sound quality there, so y'all sound like top professionals, which you are. So we've got a hand from Ishtar.
We had a really fantastic sound engineer at Jack Straw. He was incredibly supportive, and he really worked with the actors and put them at their ease. And then he was really great at modulating and, EQing everything. So he was great. And then, Kathleen put all the music and stuff together and edited it. So we had a really good, post-production staff that did a phenomenal job.
Oh, when the team comes together, that makes the dream work, right? So Ishtar has a hand, and then we're going to go to Nancy. And thanks for everybody's patience. Give Ishtar a moment to unmute. Laura, how different is the staged version from this audio version? Because I think at the top they said it's completely different.
Yeah, so the stage version is 2 acts. Kathleen wrote some wonderful new songs, such great music, new songs that we got. We were able to put into a piece about parenting, being a blind parent, and how the challenges and the joys of that. We had a romance song. We had a romance song about 2 blind people falling in love, but also a blind and a sighted person. So we kind of explored that aspect. And we had a song about waiting for the access fan, which is the
everybody's nightmare.
Yeah, that was a song about the nightmare. It was a pretty fun song. So we have new material. The challenge was we were staging it, and so the challenge was how to have the cast how to create creative staging in a space so that it was visually interesting for sighted people, but also to make it to have my blind cast be confident in the space and move and interact. And so
well, don't spoil it now, because we may have you back to talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later. But anyway, it was amazing.
Yeah, it sounds pretty interesting. And I got to study in Los Angeles at a blind acting school for a little while. So there's a whole bunch of really cool things that we can talk about when that time comes. So Ishtar's not unmuting, and oh.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you
Oh.
finally.
Yeah, something really weird is going on with my Zoom. I couldn't unmute.
Well, I'm glad we got you.
Yeah, wow. There were a lot of parts. Oh, I really I felt very moved in various ways by this play. And I was sobbing about during the guide dog part. The first part, I was sobbing. And my dogs are both here. My retired guide dog who just retired in July, and my new dog. And yeah, I have so many layers of feelings, and there were so many things in the play that I related to in a variety of ways. The tech person, the job, like the going for the job interview. I mean, and many more. I just have a lot of brain fog and I don't have a way to write anything down. So a lot of things have fallen through, but like I'm not here to babysit you. Like I have heard lines like that way too many times. And so have many other people, I'm sure. So I loved it, and I really would like to hear all of the material that you weren't able to put or didn't choose to put into this one. And I also wonder, why does it have to be visually interesting to sighted people? Why can't the thing just be in the dark?
Yes.
Let's just put it in the dark.
Yes.
And like everyone can sit in the dark and listen to this thing. That's just, I mean, yeah.
That's very interesting. And just so you know, we did toss that around. We did actually toss around scenes in the dark. And we did have 2 scenes in the play that were just sound, that you just listen to the recording. So the sound piece where the woman talks about all the different sounds that she hears, and the interview with Megumi, the Japanese section. We had that. But the audience just sat and listened to that. There was nothing to go, to show.
I'd like to respond to the guide dog scene. That was my scene.
Go ahead, Geri.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know whether to hug Kathleen or shake her, because she wrote a song that was so moving and so accurate. My dog Fiona this is her last week of working. I'm going to get her another dog. I, like you, I'll keep her. But so what was really in the audio version that you guys heard, I had a hell of a time being able to sing that song without crying.
Whoa. Oh my God.
We could cut it. I actually made it through that song, so you can't hear me crying. But on the live play, I couldn't do it. So it actually, I was directed to just let it happen. And so I would start at the end, and then the whole audience is crying. And it was so moving, and it was so beautiful.
So some of these scenes are repeated in the live version.
Oh yeah.
Almost everything is. There's just some additions.
They're expanded as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they're expanded. So I just want to say kudos to my dog Fiona, because in the beginning of that guide dog scene, I kept Fiona off the stage. She was on a bed in the back or on the side. And so when I started singing the song, what if I can't handle this? What if she doesn't like me?
Oh my God.
Dog Fiona. I'm going to cry now.
You can cry. We can cry.
That's good, because then I gave her a hand signal and she walked out on stage. It was
wow.
She was the star of the show. So
and Ishtar, that is an interesting thing. That is why it was important to not have the show in the dark, because one of the goals for this show is to educate the sighted community. So the sighted one, when I said visually interesting for the sighted community, that was not exactly what I meant. What I mean is I wanted the sighted community to see my cast moving with ease and grace around the stage, using their canes, using their blind dogs, even reading Braille. I wanted the sighted community to see them navigating the way they do. And so that's why having the lights on was important, so that they could see that, so they could see do, and then see the mistakes that sighted people do. You know, see someone being grabbed
Oh,
by.
yeah. Yeah, like you can be, you know, it doesn't matter how it seems, how like mighty and rippling with muscle and, you know, grace and speed a person is, like I've found at times, I still have been grabbed.
Yeah.
Getting off the bus, striding off the bus, like with a lot of muscle on me, right? And striding off with a tank top on and leggings, and somebody grabs me because they think I might fall.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather have them grab because they want to have a relationship.
After I consent, then they can grab me.
No, I'm just teasing.
Yeah, no, that would be good. I just want to consent first.
So for those that can't see, my dog heard me talking about her. She's sitting right up in front of the camera.
What kind of dog is she?
She's a golden lab, but she looks black. She looks like a black lab.
Oh, you mean like a yellow lab? Is she
No,
a yellow?
a black lab, but her dad was a golden retriever.
Oh, a cross.
A mix,
Oh.
but she looks like a black lab, and she's totally a ham bone. So she's sitting here staring at them.
And how old is she now?
She'll be 11. So
Yeah. Yeah, my dog's 12 and a half, a little over. He's almost 13. He's gonna be 13 at the end of November. And he's a black lab. And my other dog, my new dog, who is so different than him, and he's also a total ham, and his name is Mr. Happiness, and it's the perfect name. I renamed him. It's just, oh my God, he is so silly and fun and ADD. But my new dog is a black German Shepherd.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so she is, I shouldn't say so, but she is a very different person.
I'm trying to stay open to that because this dog's been amazing. But anyway.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm working on myself and our relationship like all the time.
Yeah.
In a good way, not in a weird way, but in the relationship of all the animals. My other dog, my cat. There's a lot that's been quite an intense time the last 3 months.
I can relate. Thank you for sharing and number. Okay.
And what was that last part you said?
And what's your phone number?
Well, I would be happy to give you my phone number actually.
Okay,
I really would.
Connect after somehow.
Yeah. I could give you my email if that seems like.
Ishtar, have you got my email address?
I do. So I'll connect with you.
I don't.
It's amy@vocaleye.ca.
How do you spell Amy?
AMY.
Oh, okay. Okay.
If you send it to me, I'll pass it on to Laura and she can send it to Geri.
Thank you. Thank you.
But it doesn't end up in the recording for all the universe to see. Mine's a public email address.
Oh, okay, sure.
Awesome. That's great. Oh, making connections.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, thanks, Ishtar. Nancy has a question or a hand or a comment. So Nancy, we'll give you a moment to unmute. And of course, once we are finished with our flying blind conversation, we can stick around and have some social chit chat as well. So Geri and
can you hear me?
Want to stick around? We can do that as well. Yes, Nancy, we can hear you.
I really enjoyed this. Thank you. It's really nice to hear sounds and what you showed. The dog. I don't have a dog, but that was touching. It made me had tears come down my eyes. It's so nice to hear. But with the sound, because I was deaf at the younger age. And hearing all this sound now, it makes a difference because when I started using my eyesight, my sound started coming out, and having to hear the train. But the only thing that bothers me in the dark is the fireworks. I always wanted to see. I know I can't see, but they were telling me the colors, and I could hear bang bang, someone shooting guns and everything else when I traveled to India for a wedding, and I was so excited. But because it was dark, they told me to go inside. But I wanted to see the fireworks. But you can't see. But at least I can hear. But you can tell me the colors of it. I didn't know if it was a gunshot or I didn't know it was a fireworks. But it with the way you had the sound and singing, it was so beautiful. The animal sound, the horse.
That's really nice to hear.
That scene, Becky Bell is the person who was the voice you heard describing all those sounds, and I just found the sound she was talking about in this piece that Laura worked out with her, talking about how much she loves sound. So we can give props to Becky for her her vivid imagination and what a gift she's given us by sharing that, so we can experience a little bit of what that kind of vivid kind of hearing and experience of sound is like. Yeah.
Well, it gives you an opportunity that you talked about it too, and it makes me feel like, wow, you're demonstrating too, and you're singing the song, and it was touching because I thought, wow, I hope you can do this again. And it had just done in Seattle, right?
Right.
Yes, the
Wow.
live performance was in Seattle, and we definitely we do hope to do it again. There's plans.
Oh, I'd love to hear it.
Nothing definite yet, but we're optimistic that we'll be able to do it again.
Well, so there's the $1 million question. If you do it again, is it the same production that you do?
Yeah.
Or is it like new stories? Is it like a a 2.0?
I think that you always grow.
Yeah.
Even like listening to this tonight was really interesting to me because we, did the live show, we changed and adapted things. I'm like, oh, yeah, we fixed that. Oh, we have a better ending now. It's like, oh, we have a funnier, Ellen Cooper is such a funny writer. Like she's great. And she funifies things. She just makes things just more humorous. And so she kind of sprinkled her humor throughout. We got more of that in the live production. So, and I think that you're always finding new material and more urgent things that need to be said. So
if I can also add to that, so the live production was pretty much everything that you guys heard plus 3 new it was 4 maybe. Anyway, they added some new stuff. But what was really cool about the live production is Ellen added some even funnier stuff than what you heard, and to have the audience laughing. Right. It was such great feedback. And we ran it 4 times. We had 4 different shows. We had 4 standing ovations. It was like the height of heights. It was so awesome.
Well, that's some really exciting stuff. So maybe we'll have an opportunity to share that in this platform sometime in the new year. You just never know. Just never know. This has been a lovely, fun night, friends. I'm really excited that we brought this. I'm really excited that it was recommended to us to check out. Sounds like it's resonated with a lot of folks in the community. I think, Laura, when we first sort of got on Zoom and we're chatting about this, we were joking about you all coming up to Vancouver and us doing something together. Who knows what could happen with enough money and time and, bringing your community, our community. Who the heck knows what could happen, but one can only dream, right?
Right.
So we'll just keep those dreams alive because you just never know. But
also get a caravan to come down here.
There you go. We can all go down.
It's true, except your dollar goes farther when you come up here. It costs us a lot more to go down there. I digress.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And have a good night, everybody.
Thanks, Megan. Have a lovely night.
You
So I just
too.
want to thank folks for joining us this evening. Thanks to Laura and to Kathleen, Geri, Dave, Dan, and of course Sheri and Ellen, who joined us at the top of the show. Just keep us posted on what happens next. We really want to keep track of this stuff. And maybe it's not Flying Blind, maybe it's another thing, but just keep us in the loop. And thanks for joining us in the VocalEye Almost Live space.
Oh, thank you
so much. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
VocalEye, vocaleye.ca. Special thanks to our funders, the Canada Council for the Arts, the British Columbia Arts Council, the Province of British Columbia, and the City of Vancouver.